A pleasant evening to all present here. Myself, Professor Ratna, from the team GIBS Business School, Bangalore. When a person really desires something, all the universe conspires to help that person to realize his dream. Paulo Coelho. Desire to prepare, preparation meets opportunity. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. We read these quotes quite often. Preparing oneself for the ever-evolving corporate world to be future ready is the key. In the corporate, efficiency begets efficiency, inefficiency begets inefficiency. It is simple yet tricky. The trick is to update and upscale. In the corporate, today we are all, we are thinking about the future of the work, jobs, and careers. So we are all connected to have more insights on this topic. The topic is future of work, jobs, and careers, and learn how to prepare yourself for the corporate. On behalf of GIBS Business School, Bengaluru, I welcome you all to this elite panel discussion. Now, it's time to introduce our moderator, the head of GIBS Finishing School, Professor Nazia ma'am. Ma'am, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the gathering. Professor Nazia Sultana R. is a psychologist with over 14 years of experience in HR domain, especially in learning and development space. She started her journey as a recruiter with Spatik Consultants and moved on to CMS Computers Limited, where she identified her life's calling, learning and development, specifically training and facilitation. She moved on to work with TMTR, a Pune-based organization, where her first association with Accenture started as a trainer. In 2009, she became an independent consultant and started delivering niche workshops for different organizations, including Accenture, SAP, Oracle, L&T, Siemens, EMC, Capgemini, Wipro, Kotak Mahindra, and Geometric, among others. She has also played a pivotal role in various academic institutes to groom their students and enable them to be corporate ready. These include GIBS BSchool, Dayanand Saga University, Jain University, RV College, CMS BSchool, ITM BSchool, BMS College, among others. She has been associated as a learning coach with Accenture and link coach for various Australian and Malaysian universities, including RMIT, AIM BSchool, Southern Cross University, among others. Currently, she heads GIBS Finishing School, where she hopes to nurture the students to be life ready and face challenges head on and enable GIBS vision of filling the gap between aspiration and preparation. Without further delay, I request Professor Nazia Sultana, head GIBS Finishing School, to introduce the panelists and welcome them to this panel discussion. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, Ratna ma'am, for the introduction. So good evening, all. I take this opportunity to first welcome all of you to the fabulous panel discussion that we have planned for today. And before we do that, I would like to introduce the 4 panelists that we have, starting with Ms. Shweta Rajput. So Shweta is a passionate trainer. She is an executive presence and leadership coach. She is also a certified image consultant and NLP practitioner. Her mission is to empower individuals and organizations by equipping them with tools and techniques so that they are able to develop their competencies and personality. So she believes in personal brand, that it has the power to make and break all kinds of opportunity for advancement. She helps add credibility to them by being their own brand ambassador and achieve personal and organizational goals. Ms. Rajput has 15 years of rich and diversified experience in human resources, education, training, and coaching, equips her audience with capability to positively impact direct business. Her diversity in terms of experience has enabled her to build strong expertise in understanding and dealing with different personalities and applying influential skills for effective team and individual performance. She is associated as faculty GIBS Finishing School, and I welcome Ms. Rajput to this entire panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Nazia. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. So moving on, we have the next panelist, Ms. Tripti Arvind. So Ms. Tripti Arvind has over 16 years of professional experience as an educator, entrepreneur, and counselor. She is enthusiastic and committed with the innate ability to understand and motivate peers around her. She is a passionate entrepreneur, influencer with leadership experience in diverse work culture and aspiration. She is excellent in terms of counseling, which encompasses a lot of issues. She is a mentor and a coach for building young generations in the country. And she is also an SME for students modeling in terms of modeling, fashion industry, etc. She is also passionate about working towards women empowerment and gender equality, where her mission is to put ideas to work to empower the disadvantaged, increase economic opportunities, gender equality, etc. She is also the recipient of many state, national, and international awards, the most recent one being from the International Human Rights Commission, UNO Geneva chapter. So she has also submitted her doctoral thesis on diversity management in IT and ITS organization of Bangalore recently. So Ms. Tripti is also the faculty associated with GIBS Finishing School. So, and I welcome Tripti ma'am to the entire panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nazia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nazia. Thank you so much. It was muted. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I am also delighted to introduce the third panelist, Mr. Gaurav Nigam. Mr. Nigam is currently associated as GIBS Finishing School faculty and also global marketing personnel associated with Infosys. He's a marketing professional who strongly believes that creativity and commitment works wonders. He believes in meticulous planning and outcome-oriented approach. He has seen uphill tasks getting converted into fairly achievable goals. He is really keenly interested in all areas of marketing and communication, and despite being part of the corporate sector, he believes and loves academia and is desirous of continuing his association with different academic institutes. He's also, especially he has mentored and coached different students on brand management, brand matrix, B2B, B2C marketing, IT marketing and IT communication mix alongside selection on various career tracks in marketing discipline while outlining the expectation of the corporates from management students. So Mr. Nigam, I welcome you on behalf of GIBS Finishing School and the panel.
Pleasure to be here with all the panelists and amongst the students. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not the least, I welcome Mr. Goel, our MD, Managing Director, GIBS Business School. Mr. Goel is a motivational speaker, personal brand coach, and business coach. He has delivered over 500 talks to corporate employees, leaders, students, and entrepreneurs. He has been hosted by several top universities, and he has been hosted by many startup forums, corporates such as BNI Champions Chapter and Inspiration Unlimited, and many more. He has addressed more than 50,000 audience as a mentor and a coach. He and his team of entrepreneurs are hosting very successfully 1 year of everything about entrepreneurship and entrepreneur program with 150 plus entrepreneurs. He has over 50,000 friends and followers on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. He has also successfully conducted teachers and directors training program on life skills, core values, and principles in more than 20 colleges and universities in India. He and his team of intellectuals have done the consulting end-to-end solution for 10 plus educational institutions in India under Pathfinder Value Creations Private Limited, aiming at 50 within the next 3 years. He has given free education to Karnataka government schools and colleges with his team of intellectuals and students in GIBS Social Foundation Trust and aiming at achieving 10,000 students in the next 3 years. Having achieved so much without any financial background and without any within 35 years of age is something that has inspired many of us. This is a story which generations to come will read and find their role model in. He has also been awarded as India's top 40 under 14 education 2021, Best Educationist Award by Sharmila Tagore in World Education Summit, interviewed on multiple platforms, and many more. His life stories and articles on entrepreneurships are covered by many media houses like Hindustan Times, ANI News, Times of India, Business World, Business Standard, Z5, etc. And I'm sure if I continue, I will have the next 15 minutes to introduce Mr. Goel. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and I welcome you to the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, madam, for such a beautiful introduction and pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I would like to start off the panel discussion with a quick question to Mr. Nigam. Gaurav, basically, post-pandemic, there has been a lot of changes. And since the entire panel discussion is about future of career prospects and career growth. So you have seen that there has been a lot of changes in terms of corporate environment pre and post-COVID. So can you describe that? And also, can you tell me, is there any significant change that you have witnessed in Infosys recruitment and retention strategies?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So good evening once again to everyone. There are three major pillars. While I would say there is a lot of change in which organizations are working pre and post COVID era, and I think that's a history in making. I'm sure all of us are undergoing this tremendous shift, incredible shift right now, whether we are in the learning environment or working environment. But I would like to call out from three basic pillars. First is innovation. Now, why I would like to call innovation is because presently, while industries are undergoing the journey of digital transformation, industry is hungry for innovative solutions. I remember last year in July, a few manufacturing organizations approached us and they asked us that our assembly line is shut. Without naming one of the major automakers, and you must be aware of that car company, they approached us and they said that we are operating in less than 20% of the capacity. Lockdown situations do not permit us to send a man-force. At that point of time, we had to launch a solution called Return to Workplace Solutions. Now, those solution was tailored, customized to the needs of the industry, that if they go back, is there a wellness solution? Is there a hygiene solution? Is there a sanitization solution? So we combined this in a suite and layered this with concepts of artificial intelligence and data analytics and build that solution. So one, industry is looking for such innovative solutions. Number two, industry is looking for adaptive learning. They would like you to learn even if there is no customized model of classroom learning. Are you okay with learning with videos? Are you okay learning with some kind of seminars? Can you learn with some of the small gigs? The gig economy is picking up. So that is also something which industry is looking forward. And number three, which is one of the important areas as well, they want people to come up with this attitude where they become owners of their work. Because now it's anytime, anywhere, work from anywhere scenario coming up. So, and the boundaries are blurring between the office environment, travel. So when we are recruiting students, candidates, we are keeping in mind that do they have flexibility and the mindset to deliver and be the owners of their assignment, because we may not have a modeled setup to interview them. One last point I would like to mention about Infosys recruitment and retention. Online engagement with the employees has been a tough nut to crack because now it's all virtual. But at the same time, I have seen a lot more inquisitiveness in the employees and people to know more. They have time to understand how is it working from others. So what we are trying to do internally in the organization is we are trying to share the success stories for health, for productivity, for someone who has executed the project and been rewarded. And at the same time, we are also setting up leadership examples so that people feel motivated, cross-learn from each other, and that helps us in our retention strategies as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Gaurav. That was really interesting. And I think all of our audience would be definitely interested to understand that the industry is looking for innovators. So think out of the box and creatively. Apart from that, be adaptable and flexible, especially in the online setup where every one of us are behind a laptop and we are virtually connected. And some of us have the privilege to connect with people outside India too. So how do you create that success story by engaging them effectively? At the same time, you talked about ownership. So yes, gone are the days where we could just fall back on our past experiences, but actually take ownership to develop ourselves, empower and engage our co-workers too. And I think especially the audience who have experience over here, who are management gurus themselves in this particular audience, I think the important message I took away from your thought process was leadership stories. That's very important. You need to share that success stories as leaders and maybe sometimes failures also so that you can inspire your fellow team members. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for that. So, Gaurav, moving on, Trupti, very quick question. You are a corporate trainer. You have had opportunities to interact with many people, let it be corporate as well as students. From your opinion, can you share what are the skills that you feel the students, especially management students, are lacking nowadays? Trupti, you're on mute.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Good evening once again, everybody out there. So directly going back to your question, Nazia, it's going to be few pointers that I want to mention over here. The first one is the adaptability, which the students are finding it very difficult. It's not only about tier 2 city, students or tier 3, it's from the tier 1 itself, and it might be from A grade, colleges to the most lower bottom colleges. One thing that I've noticed over here is adaptability. I happen to interact with one of the IIMs. I don't want to mention which city it belongs to. Now, this gentleman was actually picked up from Microsoft very recently, just 4 months back, but he's intending to leave the organization now. An IIM graduate picked up, by Microsoft, wants to leave the organization because his adaptability skill is low. He's based out of Chennai now, and he wants to move back to Bangalore. Okay, fine. Probably the place change will make a lot of difference. But then, what is more important is I couldn't see the adaptability quotient over there. So he just wants to move out within 4 months' time. Now, communication skills. I have seen this over the past 1 decade, working with students, working with entry-level employees. I've seen communication skill is something that has been lacking among students. Me being running an entrepreneurship over there, also I noticed this drastic drawback of people having good communication skills. So we need to coach them and train them. Third thing would be the leadership skills. So today's management students are going to be managers very shortly. We are not going to go at the grassroots level. We will be at the middle level, and then we'll move on to the topmost level. Leadership skills is again matching. They just feel that MBA degree will give them everything. Sorry, that is not the thing that's going to happen. Leadership skills should be learned, should be adapted. That is something that is actually missing. After that, you have something called as conflict resolution. I have seen this happening in the classroom. It might be at the personal level, but there is absolutely no conflict resolution at all. They might have small fights, they might have small misunderstanding, but they feel that this is done. I cannot sort this out. If this is happening at the classroom level, if it's happening at the personal level, I really don't know how they're going to manage it at the organizational level, because nobody works in isolation. People definitely work in teams. When you work in teams, conflict resolution should be there, and they should be taught, and they should know how to resolve this particular conflict. Then critical or out of the box thinking. This is just not done because they don't go into the detailing part of it. Most of the time I've seen among students or new entrants in the organizations where out of the box thinking and detailing is something is missing. Even when we give them assignments or when we give them small projects, they try to come out with easier solutions, shortcut solutions without getting into the detailing part of it. Even if we ask basic thing about the current affairs, they just come out with 2 current affairs or 3 current affairs without knowing what is happening inside those current affairs. Like, for example, we had Olympics coming up. We had Olympics previous, the last one. We had the Paralympics and we had the regular Olympics as well. But then students didn't know where India actually won. So it is the detailing part is definitely missing, where probably students have to be groomed or students have to be taught before they step into the corporate world how important and critical is detailing for each one of them to succeed and be tomorrow's leaders. Innovation is another thing. Whatever you give, they will deliver. Thinking out of the box, figure it out, genie. Those things are definitely missing, when it comes to innovation part of it. I give you an assignment, I give you a task, you are done with it, you submit it. Just with the way we have drawn the outline, without the outline, just going out of the outline is not happening. So innovation is just not happening for the students. And when it comes to innovation, only entrepreneurship happens. So entrepreneurship skill has to be developed, which is so much critical for the economy like India, wherein we can provide jobs to the largest sector of the society. So innovation has to be done. The criticality of the innovation has to be taught to the students, even at the middle level or at the at the base. Like today, for example, I was speaking to a few commissioners in Bangalore. They are all in the labor department. So they wanted me to conduct a training program for one of the electrical component company. Now, this particular company has got 10,000 employees. So they had few drawbacks with regard to innovation and critical part of it. So innovation is something which is not there even at the middle level. This is what the commissioner was telling me. We don't find innovation even at the middle level. So how will we find innovation at the lower level? So we have to teach them what is innovation and how do we go about, with the innovation. Finally, finally, the initiative and drive. This is something that we have to, driving something from within them is very important, Nazia, because, this is something, they feel that management education will give them everything, faculties will give them everything, or the initial mentors in the organization will give them everything, onboarding will take care of everything. And they're so laid back that, drive is something that is missing. Maybe the system has made them, or probably the pandemic has made them a little lazy, but drive is something that is missing, which has to be inculcated and initiated within them. Thank you so much, Nazia.
Thank you. Thank you, Tripti.
Yeah.
Yes. I think somewhere you resonated with what Gaurav already mentioned, that in Infosys that they are looking for innovators, that they are looking for adaptive ability to adapt. And I think some of the skills, if I may reiterate, is apart from communication, emotional intelligence is important, wherein they are able to adapt to not only their own personality, but resolve conflict, address conflicts head on. So thank you so much, Tripti, for that. So Shweta, coming to you, I have a, so obviously, we've talked about communication, we've talked about innovation, we've talked about being curious and everything. And your profile, when I've read through, you are a licensed image consultant. So I'm sure, I'm very curious, and I'm sure some of the audience over here are also very curious as to what is image management and what is it all about? If you could help us understand that. Yes.
Definitely. This is my favorite question. And thanks for asking me this. So before I get into what is image management, I'll quickly talk about what image is and how this image is created. So my image would be, Nazia, how you perceive me, or everyone around over here right now, how they are perceiving me. My image would not be what I think of myself. It would be me in your eyes. And that image would be created based on some elements. And those elements are your appearance, your behavior, your communication, and nowadays, very important, your digital presence. So we call it ABCD of image management: appearance, behavior, communication, digital presence. All of this is together. And why I said this is my favorite question, because many people think that image management is just restricted to appearance. That is just one part of it. The entire, all these four elements is how you create that impression about me. And based on that impression, whatever you have created, whatever image you have created, you will take decisions regarding me based on that impression. Be it giving me an opportunity, be it being my friend, be it giving me a promotion, be it not giving me a particular opportunity. All those decisions will be based on that image I have been creating in your other's mind. Now, image management is very simple now. It is about working on these elements so that they work for us, not against us. If I'm aware of these elements, I would be knowing that working on them, what I want to project myself as, what my real self is, what I want the world to know about me. When we are not aware of and we think about only just maybe, just by appearance, just by first impression, everything is done. That is a very important tool. However, that's just one part of it. So image management, yes, this is, if everyone can remember by this, A, B, C, D, appearance, behavior, communication, and our digital presence. So taking care of all these four elements and showing the world what we really are is image management.
Perfect. I like the way you articulated and explained what image management is. Right. And the beauty of all the conversation is, I think all the three panelists have almost shared similar things, right? Communication is very important, yes. How people perceive us. And it's very important that we are aware as to how people perceive so that it does not impact our relationships.
Absolutely.
It impact the engagement part of it. So thank you so much for that, Shweta.
Thank you.
Mr. Goel, Ritesh, sir, this is something that I'm very curious to ask you. As GIBS, since I head the GFS wing of this particular GIBS school, I'm very curious to understand when you launched or you had this perception and the thought process of having GIBS finishing school, what inspired you? What was the motivation behind having this particular school to help the students out, especially management student again? Why for management student? I understand for maybe students who are aspiring to move into hospitality or students who are trying to move into something which is entertainment oriented. Why management students?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Nazia Madam, for such a beautiful question, because From last 3 months, almost last 90 days, this topic has become very close to my heart. So it's earlier, we used to call it as, B2B, business to business. So now all the businesses are running on S2S. So we call it as, the human to human and heart to heart. And if we really have to work closely with the students, so the first thing is we need to understand them. We need to understand their skill sets. So I'll just share it. I can speak for hours and hours on this particular, the launching of finishing school, but as I've been given almost about 90 seconds. It was in the month of July. One of my PGDM student met me with a sweet box. That's why I've been placed in one of the EdTech with a very good package. So I just congratulated him, and then I said, I just have put across my, the concern with that student that nowadays students are not very serious with the skill sets. The companies are coming, but they are not getting shortlisted. So he has, expressed his feeling, and that has really touched my heart. So he told, sir, generally in our hostels, we keep communicating about it. And, nobody is having a self-awareness. So when I say self-awareness, so everybody feels, see, for an example, I am a Hindi speaking student. So I'll be having a group of Hindi medium, the Hindi public, Hindi speaking student. So I'll be the leader of that group. The Telugu student, one of the student will be the leader of that group. So they don't realize it with 1.5 year of journey, during the management program. So at the end, when they sit for an interview, so, and they get failure, they get failure. So that self-awareness was missing. So then I sat with my team and I thought, let us come up with something where we can make them, aware about their capabilities. And, once they are aware, and then we will be holding their hand throughout the journey with GIBS. And this is how this idea has come into the picture. And then we started doing the research about it. And almost, I think my team has done a research with about 1,000 plus management students. What is their take on, the skill sets? And I think more than the skill sets nowadays, we really need to focus on mindset. So in the first 90 days, in the finishing school, we are focusing more on mindset, because according to me, mindset is more important than skill set, because I always call it as a skill without will is nil. So, you should first have a mindset. If your mind is set, then everything is set, right? So then the rest of the 90 days, the 3 levels we work on the skill set. And I'm sure this finishing school is going to change the mindset of the student, the skill set of the student, and this is going to be a game changer for students' life. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. I completely agree with you. I think some of the students really struggle with self-awareness, and when the reality comes in, it's too late. And
so it's more about, it's more over like, the reality versus imagination. So they will be in the imaginary mode throughout the program, and when they face reality, it is really difficult for them.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate GIBS, because every initiative that GIBS has taken, somewhere I've been part of it, and you've given me opportunity to handhold the students. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity.
And thanks for accepting, the request to be a part of GSF family.
Thank you so much, sir. So Gaurav, just when Mr. Goel was talking about, having this idea of lack of self-awareness on the students' part, or they are having certain thought process that they are the king or queen of that particular domain, and then reality check comes in and they struggle quite a bit. So keeping that in mind, as part of Infosys global marketing team, are there any specific areas that you feel that the professionals should be prepared for, especially keeping in mind that there might be certain expectation the students themselves have of the situation. So as a marketing professional, do you think, do you have any suggestions for students and professionals alike that you would like to share your 2 cents?
Yeah, I would like to mention one thing, and I would appeal to all the students out here who are listening to this. Not every answer is there on Google. Not everything is available on public domain. This is my sincere request, because many times when I see the essays written by many students or the exam papers written by them, I see them taking a lot of examples, but they're not able to translate the example in a real problem scenario. Industry right now is looking for problem solvers. And for that, you have to apply mind and connect the dots. If it worked for Tata, will it work for Reliance? If Ola Electric is being launched, will Jio Telecom face wins from Airtel when it resurges back? Why Voda Idea phone merger has failed? Why a certain company is going for rebranding? I would like all of you to keep your eyes and ears open and understand behind the reason. If Zomato acquired Zomato acquired Uber Eats in India, what was the reason? Recently, PharmEasy acquired MedLife. Two mergers and acquisitions happened. Tata acquired 1mg. Both are medicine online delivery app. Why this kind of merger happened? Why Byju's is suddenly acquiring a lot of edtech companies? Why are they investing in digital and platform like Disney's? Why are they using Disney as the storytelling? Why there is a resurgence of OTT platform? Please go ahead and question everything out there. Build for answers, look for answers, post it in Quora, check with your faculty members, because there is where the real learning lies. I would certainly not ask you not to go to Google and read up, but I would like you to take that as a cue to begin your journey of exploration. Second and last thing I would like to mention over here is industry these days, and particularly again coming from my own experience, is looking for creating wow experiences. Now, clients have seen interesting experiences in the offline world. They want you to take this and replicate in the online world. Initially, we used to do, for example, you must be aware that how we used to do admissions or exams, you're doing it online. Now, clients are expecting us to do a whole event online. They want us to hold whole visit. Initially, they used to visit to India in Bangalore and we used to host them. Now they want us to create a similar experience without visiting Bangalore. They are sitting somewhere in Chicago and New York. They want us to deliver the same experience. And recently I signed off a 3D way of giving the same experience using the concept of augmented reality and virtual reality. Now, this is the latest solution I'm working for one of my clients. So I'm assuming all other clients are also looking for similar solutions. Therefore, to summarize this, one is please begin your journey of problem solving, question everything. Secondly, focus on creating beautiful experiences, because these days products and services are not being sold, but experiences are being sold. Thank you.
Perfectly shared, Gaurav. So I really appreciate the fact that you have reiterated that curiosity does not kill the cat all the time. Curiosity actually makes you relevant in COVID times. Thank you so much for that. Okay, now in terms of, so Tripti, one of the things that it has been coming across is communication is very important, right? And one of the things that I've experienced or I have come across that students have a misunderstanding that English is not as important as any other skill, especially let it be marketing, HR, finance. They take English as a language, just a language, it's not a skill. So can you provide your perspective? Do you think English is important in the corporate world? And what do you think will happen in case the students don't adapt that skill set?
Sure, Nazia. While we were growing up, while we were students, a decade and a half back, English was a prerogative. English had to be spoken within school premises or even within the vicinity of school premises, even at home most of the time. But these days, what I've noticed is students are very comfortable speaking their mother tongue. I don't know where the shift came from. I've noticed this in organizations, I've noticed this in entrepreneurship, I've noticed this even with our students, students as old as, MBA students, 22, 23-year-old, speaking happily in their mother tongue, vernacular language, but I really don't know from where they adapted this, So this is something which we need to break, team. Yeah, we need to focus more on English being their mother tongue and not their mother tongue being their most communicative language. So English is spoken everywhere. It is English where we ask them questions about. It is the interviews happen only in English and subjects are taught only in English. In organizations, the rules and regulations and instructions are given only in English. Nowhere your mother tongue or your vernacular language is used. So this is something which has to be taken up very, very serious. It's not only about speaking. I've seen the lack even in their writing skills. I've seen the lack even in their presentation skills. I've seen the lack even in their listening skills and in their oral communication as well. So I can say the 93% of their communication actually needs a shift. Students have to focus both on their non-verbal communication and communication as well. So most of the students, what I've noticed is, they just like to be fed, and they just listen to whatever they feel is important and just leave out the most important things we faculties deliver. So that has to definitely change, Nazia. And it will take a little while, or it might take a long time for them to change, but it has to change. Students have to understand that it is in English and only English that can take them forward. While I was a recruiter initially in my career, so when I used to go for campus recruitment, it was not the hard skills that was important to me, it was the soft skills. Today, an MBA graduate or an engineer graduate is seen as a customer. He's not seen as an employee, he's seen as a customer. So having said that, my importance would lie only on their communication skills, interpersonal skills, because I can teach them accountancy, I can teach them finance, I can still teach them the tricks of marketing, I can teach them any computer language, but learning interpersonal skills should come from within you, which is so important. I give you a code. If you're not able, you might be able to write that code, but if you're not able to convince your customer, your higher ups, your team leader, your manager, what's the point of writing that code, which is of no use at all. So today it is very important. It's not only the communication, the articulation skills, the presentation skills. We were having some presentation skills yesterday in another college. So students found it so difficult to understand what is a presentation skill, So giving them the base about what is presentation, how to do your presentation slides, how to deliver a presentation, case study or a presentation topic is very important these days. And it has to be probably taught as early as from your high school level, I feel, Having kids at home, I see that importance, students, teachers, probably in international schools, teachers are actually handholding them in case studies from 8th standard, from 7th standard. I feel this has to be done very early in their schools if there is an exposure for them, But of course, at the post-graduation level or even at the UG level, we are going to certainly teach them, but this has to be probably if we have teachers in this group, among the audience. If this can be taught as early as 15, 16, teenage time, then students will go a very, very long way. So education, as much as education is important, as much as your degree is important, communication is also very, very important, because the success definitely lies on how well you can deliver yourself, how well can your body speak, how well can you convince your audience. After all, management students are going to be customers in organization. Yeah.
I think I can sum up your thoughts with what Mr. Goyal was talking about, that students need to have basically a mindset change, so that they accept that English is a language, and it's a skill which is a requirement for the corporate. And all these management students are future leaders. And in order to lead a team, they need to be effective articulators of ideas. So thank you for that. So one aspect is communication. So Shweta, I'm coming back to you. This is something which I have found it as a young kid too, where I was always taught never to judge a book by its cover. Right. However, recruitment happens within the BSchool, within the corporate, we tend to judge people. That's my perspective. So do you think this is valid today from your experience, that somewhere people do judge, let it be your, like you said, appearance, let it be your body language, let it be your communication, the ABCD of things. Do you think people do judge us? And is it important to address it?
The first question actually asked was my favorite. And this question is something which I'm most asked. In fact, in the morning, I had a session of first impressions and I was bombarded with such questions. And I'm still saying in the chat box, some people have already started asking me such questions. So this saying what it says, Nazia, I would say it is a very good advice and a very wise one for us. Like, do not judge people based on the cover, based on their appearance or their body language, or because there is so much inside us which we are not able to sometimes show outside. So I would say it is a very good advice, wise one. However, at the same time, I would say it's not wise for us to think that others are not doing this. We may, as we can take this advice and we can be conscious about it, that, okay, even if we have formed a wrong impression about someone, we are going to give that person enough time to prove himself or herself. This is something which we can train our mind. However, it is so subconscious, because that is a conscious thing we'll be doing. Subconsciously, we make snap judgments, and that is how our mind is wired. And it is wired for a reason, because if we are not wired like this, where we can make snap judgments, our decision-making skills will be very, very slow. That's the reason human brain is wired like this, so that we can make judgments and we can take decision based on that. So I would say, again, it's a wise advice for us to follow ourselves and give people that leeway that, we are not going to judge you just by that. But falling into this trap and thinking that others will not judge us, I'm not saying anything. There's nothing right and wrong. It's always our own decision. I always say these are tools. These are some powerful tools. Why not use them for our benefit? Right? And it's not about showing what we are not. No, authenticity is the most important thing. But being aware what we are, and are we showing our true self to people? That is very important. So yes, this is what
so
I
it
have
sounds like a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Where either ways you're stuck, but yes.
Actually, if you use it as a tool and you, start using it and practice it, it becomes your second nature. You don't have to then think about it. It comes naturally to you. Yes, but initially, as like any other, skill, we have to practice it.
Absolutely.
But then it is a tool and a very, very powerful one.
Absolutely. It's somewhere people remember you by like a brand. You're literally creating a brand image.
Yes.
So that people remember you with that particular appearance.
And whoever we are,
absolutely.
Just owning our own self.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much, Shweta.
Thank you.
Ritesh sir, this is a question for you. So basically, like I said, being from the corporate and interacting with multiple management schools, so sometimes some people are very critical of BSchools, that the concepts that are shared are very theoretical and it's not very practical. It does not help meet corporate expectation, that somewhere there is still a gap between where the students are and where they need to be. So do you agree with this perspective? And do you think, obviously as part of GIBS, we are taking a lot of initiatives, but I would like to understand from you, as part of the BSchool wing, how do you look at this particular question?
Okay, madam. Before answering this question, so I would like to just put some light on the point which Gauravji has mentioned about problem-solving approach. So I always says that money doesn't come to those who work for money. Money comes to those who work for solving the problems, who work for a purpose, and who work for creating the values. And that is the only difference between smart people and other people. The smart people always solve the problems. They always solve the problems, and others just cry, crib, and complain about them. They complain about the smart people. So, okay. So now let me answer the question. Yes, madam. Unfortunately, many business schools are still following the theoretical, the approach of, the teaching or the education system. And this approach is not going to help students in any way to fetch the best jobs in the corporate. Because nowadays the corporate has changed their complete recruitment system, and it has become moreover like a practical learning for the students. So, we at GIBS, we have come up with so many experiential learning programs, and we give about 30% weightage to the theoretical classes, and which happens only in the first half. I have been to one of the university called University of Amsterdam in 2015-16 for an international conference. And I have seen that concept over there, that they conduct all theoretical classes in the morning hours, and after the lunch hours, they only conduct practical classes by looking at the students' mindset. So we have implemented the same approach in GIBS, and 30% weightage has been given to the theoretical approach of all the subjects, and 70% has been given to action learning programs. So when I say action learning program, we have the IRE school for PGDM students, and IRE is nothing but innovation, research, and entrepreneurship, which is a complete action learning school. And again, Nasia madam is the innovation faculty over there. So, and I think IRE starts with innovation, so that starts with Nasia madam. And we as a business school always says that fall in love with learning and the rest will follow. And yes, the action learning is very much required in today's scenario, because theoretical approach of education or the learning is not going to help the student to fetch a good job in the corporate world. Thank you so much, madam.
Absolutely, sir. I completely agree with you, because when we launched IRE last year, I think the students really appreciated it, and yes, especially being in a position to think out of the box, using research to authenticate whether the idea is actually feasible or not, and then to pitch as a marketing entrepreneur. So that has been a great success. And I think with finishing.
I just want to share something on IRE, madam.
Yes,
Because
sir.
of this unique teaching style of IR innovation, research and entrepreneurship, last month, recently we have been featured by Forbes magazine for the unique concept of IRE, and they have, I was in touch with few of the officials of Forbes magazine, and they were like, you should share this idea with all the business schools. And we don't keep an ideas to us. I always believe in, if you share the knowledge, you square the knowledge. So definitely
Absolutely.
in near future, I'm hoping that most of the business school will be coming up with an idea of IRE.
Absolutely. And I'm hopeful that finishing school gives the touch that the students who definitely want to go ahead and be more confident, not only in terms of placement, but be future ready. They need to ensure that they're able to grab the opportunity when it comes their way. Absolutely. And I think I really can thank you for initiating both the launches, because without the vision of a leader, it's very difficult to carry on that particular path. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Gaurav, very quickly for you, like Ritesh sir was talking about how management schools have to look at, not only the theoretical is important, because Indian academia is connected to theory, but we need to give a very practical and very, I would say, corporate oriented experiences for the students, so that when they actually go to the corporate, it makes it realistic for them. So sir is literally talking about holistic development. So do you think what we have, the finishing school, like sir was talking about, focusing on the communication part of it, having GDs, having PI, having stress interview, literally grooming the students for the final, final journey as a PGDM student. Do you think, do you see merit in that? Do you think it's going to help students and professionals alike?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to take this relay to one of the questions asked in the chat box. How can finishing school prepare future managers? I will give you an example. 3 months back, we were in deal discussion with one of the shipping corporations of Singapore. And it so happened that one of the persons on the board was a Chinese person. And there was other 2 people who were also from Singapore origin. However, they were from initially from Chinese. So they were not very fluent in English. But at the same time, they were very curious. They had technical bent of mind, and they were very interested in what we were trying to pitch. At that point of time, one of the young team members who we had designing experience. He immediately tried to capture what we had to present, and he presented a small sketch in which he showed how the ship finally landed the dockyard and was completely seal-proofed, and all the materials were taken care, and materials were sent through best optimized supply chain to the factory. Now, we were trying to pitch them the future of factory, which is Factory 2.0. It is a part of this Industrial Revolution 4.0. You must have heard Industry 4.0. So this concept we were trying to pitch, but the way beautifully he sketched it and presented it immediately kind of resonated with these Chinese clients. Now, what are we trying to imply? The point we're trying to imply is there is one thing which is called language. There is other thing is empathy to the customer, where you are trying to understand what customer wants and using any aspect of communication skills, whether it is body language, whether it is your understanding of the message, comprehension skills, and negotiation skills, and of course pitching, you are able to build a connect with the client. So this worked out for us, and I must say that we were selected for the final round with one of the other top players in that deal discussion. And last thing which I want to tell is finishing school or concept of finishing school can make you brand ambassadors for your company. These days, companies are working in one phenomenon, and I can definitely say Infosys is working for sure. So I'm imagining others also, that when a lot of you are working at the client location or spending more face time with the client, do you wear the badge of your company, wear the brand of your company on your shoulder? Are you the brand ambassador in true spirit? So a process of finishing school grills you so much that you start believing in the vision and mission of the organization you represent. So whether you're complemented by finishing school, you are the right future manager to represent your company, and hence that calls for success.
Absolutely. So literally it's a holistic development, overall development of the individual.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. So Tripti, I know we have already asked you, what are the things that students are lacking? But I would like to understand from your corporate experience, is there something lacking in the corporate itself that maybe there's an opportunity for our students to maybe look in, like Gaurav was talking about being curious. So maybe there's a skill or a competency gap that our students or aspirant management students can actually invest their time and energy and be one of those top 3 who would automatically be selected by the organization.
Okay, Nazia, apart from the skills that I spoke about, few things I would like to mention over here is, having a decade experience in teaching, I still have students, who are probably in their late 20s calling me up and discussing about the self-esteem part of it. Probably they have lacked in the organization, a rat race. Probably they have failed in the organization rat race. Probably they wouldn't have got a good appraisal. So the self-esteem is very, very low. Being a counselor, this is where I need to, pay attention to that. We have to build up their self-esteem from the very beginning. It's okay if they fail. Only if they fail tomorrow, they have a chance to win the race. If they don't fail, they will not move up in their ladder. But the first, as soon as they join the organization, they just want to pass. But this passing will not happen without failing. They might fail in the appraisal. They might fail in their salary, what do you call that, increment. But when they do that, when they face that, then they call up, ma'am, this is what happened. This is how can you help me out? Can I have a counseling session with you? This is where we need to fine tune this in the finishing school itself. Nazia, probably we can include this as to how we can boost up the self-confidence, self-image, self-esteem of the students. And it's okay to fail. It's perfectly all right to fail. You have to fail to succeed in life. This is something which we have to tell our students again and again till this enters their mind very deeply. Another thing, what Shweta was mentioning, it's the image. It's definitely the image. They are not very confident about themselves. They might be wearing the best of clothes, but still they shy away from presenting themselves in a very, very appropriate way. This is also something that we have to make note of. They might be dressed very nicely, impeccably, but then they are not confident even when it comes to the best brand clothes or the best outfit or the best color combination or the best formal or casual wear that they are wearing. Still they may not be confident. That is also where, because till that we have not spoken to them about their appearance. It's only been subjects. But having gone through the finishing school aspect, today MBA is mostly to do with the finishing school. We have to kind of give a finished product to the corporate and not ask the students to learn in the corporate arena where they have to learn so many other things as to the adaptability in the organization. So as much as possible, if 50% is talking about syllabus, then the 50% should be to do with the finishing school aspect. And in the finishing school aspect, it's also what I advise is, or probably what is there in my mind is, it's about how we can counsel the students and how we can deliver it like an angel to the organization. That is very, very important, so that tomorrow they don't actually fail in the organization. And one more thing is that, to resolve personal development issues through detailed interaction and question answer sessions. This is something that I made a point over here is we have to resolve their personal development issues. How do I develop myself? I ask these questions very often to students. Where do you see yourself 2 years down the line? Okay, completion of my MBA. After that, what? 5 years down the line, where do you want to see? Then they're point blank. They wouldn't be knowing how to answer this. Probably we need to prepare them as well as to what they can be in other, so that they can actually pave the path or do their roadmap as to where they can be in 5 years. It's not about jumping from, even an IM student is thinking of hopping at 4 months, just 4 months in Microsoft, and he wants a different job. So this is not something that I expect from our students. So let's help them. Let's do a roadmap and provide them as to what they can do with 2 years, 4 years, 5 years of corporate experience, or even if they want to shift from finance to HR to marketing, or big data or analytics, how we can handle them, how we can guide them. These are the few important things that we can actually handle the students and make them corporate ready. Yeah,
thank you so much, Tripti.
Yeah.
So actually, I had a question for Shweta, but I will just request Mr. Goel. I'll come back to you, Shweta, in a little bit.
Sure.
So. Ritesh sir, Gaurav was sharing his perspective of how finishing school can help a management aspirant. Tripti was sharing her perspective. So obviously, over multiple discussions that we've had, we know that we are investing in the holistic development of the student. We have had multiple goal setting, we have mentoring sessions. But since, I would like to know from you when you conceive this idea. So do you think, this concept of finishing school will address the challenges that Gaurav, Tripti, even Shweta has mentioned earlier? And how do we plan to do that? What's the vision behind it?
All right, Madam, I'll just take you through the levels of finishing school. I think your answer will be, your question will be answered. So we have divided our finishing school into 4 levels by keeping in the mind, for the holistic development of the student. When I say holistic development, so we take care of, the IQ, EQ, SQ, as well as the HQ. So because HQ is the most important part, I believe. So in the first level, each level we have divided into 3 months. So the level 1 is in the trimester 1. So level 2 is in the trimester 2. And we have allocated 10 credits for the same. So in level 1, the moment a student enters in the institution as a PGDM student, or the other management courses student. So first we concentrate on goal setting for the student. And once the goal setting is done and the mindset is done with the student, then we focus on image consulting part, physical appearance, fitness programs like, we conduct dance classes. And okay, let me first tell you that the entire Saturday, the full Saturday has been given to the finishing school. We don't conduct any other classes on Saturdays. So morning students, reports at 8:50 a.m. and evening, just to keep it on the lighter note, right now we are conducting it till 5 o'clock. So in future, it may go up to 9, 10 or 11 o'clock also. And, and we conduct, a lot of meditation activities, chanting activities, laughter yoga, the Zumba and dance classes for the student, as well as the fitness programs. And the level 2, if you will understand the stepwise process, the first, as a student, I should focus on my physical appearance. I should focus on my image consulting. And once it is done, I should now get into the language mastery program. So we call it as LSRW model. So LSRW is nothing but listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So the entire level 2 is focusing on LSRW model, public speaking skills, extempore and all. But the best part is, all the activities we are, doing the video shooting, especially when, the speaking related activities in the institution. And level 3, we are focusing more on mock GDs and PIs. So these are not the regular mock GDs and PIs. Student has to go to the corporates. They have to attend the live interviews with the HRs. The mock personal interviews as well as the GDs, and we conduct a lot of aptitude tests, psychometric tests, and resume building, specifically on the video resume part. And the level 4 is all about the specialization based training. The student, whatever the specialization they have opted for, like marketing, HR, finance, retail, or etc. And we also give training on the most important part, situation analysis. Because sometimes students get failure in analyzing the situation and how to handle failures, how to handle rejections. Because I've seen the students that after sitting for 5 to 6 interviews, if they get rejected and they feel really bad and they feel depressed. And as and when I get a chance to meet them, I always say that you are the luckiest student because you got an opportunity to meet 5 HRs at least. So you understood the perspective of 5 HRs. So that itself is a learning, because learning is everywhere. Right, so it is up to you. How do you take it up? And then we also, prepare them for handling the worst challenges. And I think in one of the questions I've seen that are you really focusing on ethics and other things? So we have also included a topic session on ethics is from Bhagavad Gita in the level 4. And it's overall, if I have to say, that we take care of mindset, we take care of the heart set, we take care of health set. And we take care of the skill set of the student. So this is all about the finishing school. I think I have covered all the points related to holistic development when it comes to the finishing school. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I can connect it to one of the questions that, what is the difference between a finishing school and the general personality development? So obviously, I think some part you've already answered, sir, where personality development sessions that typically happens, very restricted to theoretical concept that this is how you need to answer your introduction. So one of the frequently asked question is introduce yourself. So the trainers will give you ABC. This is what you need to say. These are the often questions that are asked. GD, do this, do that. So, but in GIBS finishing school, we are aiming to make it very experiential. That means obviously they will have multiple mock sessions of GD and PI in class with their classmates, but we also will have them go to live interviews They will go through stress interviews so that they are prepared. And these are collaborations that GIBS has with multiple corporates so that we are able to give I would say the students the best experience and best learning curve so that when they actually go for their placements, they are 100% ready. And apart from that, like Tripti was mentioning, goal setting is something that is often ignored. Your trainer meets you one day, maybe once in a week and disappears, and you may have another trainer. But we have a dedicated core team that will help you every time, every Saturday. You have a mentor who is literally, the mentor can be your best friend or can be your worst enemy, because this mentor is going to continuously ask, why haven't you achieved your goal? Why haven't you done what you're supposed to be doing? What, again, egging you on, motivating you, you call it egging or motivating, up to you, because at the end of the day, we are focused on the success of the student. And the moment the students are successful, we as academicians, we become successful. So thank you so much, sir, for detailing out what is finishing school all about and how we are different from any other personality development workshop that happen. Yes,
can
sir.
I give 7 important finishing lines when it
Absolutely,
comes to
sir.
finishing school?
Yes, sir.
So these are 7 important lines which I always give in most of my sessions. The first one is luck does not exist. Many of us believe in luck because I believe L for learning, U for under, C for correct, K for knowledge. So if you are learning under correct knowledge, then only luck exists. So that means you need to have a guru in your life, and start before you are ready to start. Start before you are ready to start. Never say, I don't know where to start. So never say, I don't know where to start. The first step is to figure out the first step. For any business, for any job, the first step is to figure out the first step. Implementation versus information. Done is better than perfect. So please do it now. Don't wait for the right time, because this itself is the right time. And discipline equals freedom. Ego is enemy. So I call it as E for eliminating, G for good, O for opportunities. So ego is the biggest enemy. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It really sums up the entire expectation from GIBS finishing school. So Shweta, a question that has come in from one of the audience is, can you give me a few tips to succeed during initial period of corporate life? So can you share, based on your experience guiding people, mentoring people as an image consultant, how can anyone, let alone be a student, let it be a professional, how do you appear confident? What are the mantras that can help the student or a professional to achieve success in the corporate?
And Nazia, when you're talking about confidence, I know all of us over here would agree with me. Confidence is internal and external. Right? A lot of it is, of course, internal, as Tripti also mentioned, self-image. So a lot comes from that. So first, let me talk about few external things, because external is easier to master. So I can quickly go through that. So when it comes to external, the first thing I would say, which really helps and which is easiest to master, and something which we, we so don't want to, is about our dressing. And when I say dressing, dress appropriately. There is nothing right and wrong. I always tell, it's always your choice. But when it comes to casual, when it comes to weddings, when it comes to parties, we all know and we dress our best. That time we don't think about, why are you talking about dressing? Why should I be wearing this particular attire? Why I need to be, we don't have so many questions. But the questions come when it comes to professional dressing. Why so? When we are appropriately dressed over there, the same goes in corporate environment as well. And the basic thing, how it will help us is, because if we are dressed appropriately, then we feel good about ourselves. We feel confident about ourselves, and this is what we project, and that's how people are going to react to us also. And how people are reacting to us is how we are going to feel about ourselves. This is a entire circle. So the easiest is just be appropriately dressed. I'm not asking you how, I'm just saying be appropriate. We all know what appropriate is. We just try to ignore that part, not that we are not aware. So one is the dressing part. The other is the body language, another very, very powerful tool. So if you have to think about body language, if you think of a body language of a winner, a person who has just won a race, the moment a person wins a race and has just crossed that ribbon, how they behave, they just say, wow, I have done it. Never like, oh, I have won the race. It's always like this, because that's open body language, and that's the body language of a winner. So whenever we are sad, we are feeling low, we just try to take a corner and shrug ourselves and just try to be, take as much less space. That's a body language of a loser. That's how it is, and that's how it is seen. So body language, keep a open body language. Don't try to close your body. That's another thing which really helps. And another very, very powerful tool is eye contact. Giving direct eye contact to people when we are talking. One, it engages the people with us, and the other, it makes us appear more confident in what we are talking. Especially if we are talking, like we are greeting someone or talking about something important point, look directly in the eyes. And I have found, met many of my clientele who are not comfortable at all giving eye contact. So I give them a tip. Initially, if you're not okay, rather than giving a direct contact, it's okay, you just look between your eyebrows. That also gives an impression that you're giving an eye contact, but do not avoid that. So these are some of the external things, and which I very, very strongly believe in. The internal one is, which really limit us, is when moment we have to face any important event, the first, all those limiting beliefs start coming in our mind, that what if I will fail, what if I will not be able to achieve, what I'm good enough, what if I'm not good enough, I was told in my school I'm not good in this, I was told in my college I lack these qualities, what if I fail again. So just the moment those moments, those thoughts come, catch those and try to reiterate them with a different thought. And the thought could be, no matter what, I will be okay. No matter what, I will face it and I'll learn something from it. So just initially, as I said, you may it may appear that you are not actually feeling it, but you're saying it, but still keep saying that. You keep repeating that mantra to you, that no matter what, I will be okay. And you will see the change that produces in your outward and inward confidence. So
Absolutely.
These are some things I guess it should
Absolutely.
help.
Yes. So just to reiterate, Shweta, what I heard from you is growth mindset. Focus on what do I actually get from that situation? What can I learn as a great feedback for me? The second thing which I took away was focus on preparation. Don't take preparation for granted.
No.
That means even spending time on that attire
is very important.
It's very important. Yes. And self-esteem, definitely it's something that needs to be addressed. I think we need to be mindful of our thoughts. And I think one of the, and definitely what we are trying to do with GIBS Finishing School is have those meditations wherein slowly that becomes a habit. Yes. It definitely helps us over a period of time wherein our thoughts are much more in our control rather the other way around.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Shweta, for addressing that.
Thank you.
Okay, these were the questions that I had for you, but there are a few questions which are very important, and I thought if we have the next 10 minutes, we can address it. So I think, Ritesh sir, this is apt for you. So there's a question from one of the PGDM student who's written, I'm pursuing my PGDM from another B school in Bangalore. Can I also be part of GIBS Finishing School?
Right now, the GIBS Finishing School is only for the PGDM students of GIBS, but in future, I'm hoping that it will become a venture where, we can invite the students from each and every part of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely something that we can think about, sir.
Absolutely, madam.
Yeah. So there's a second question. I think it's open. Anyone wants to take this. One of the students asked, what plans are in place to reinforce the skills of growth mindset in the present and future student? So we have addressed it in an indirect way, but if anyone would like to address this as part of GIBS Finishing School, how are we planning to invest in growth mindset of our student present and in the future?
Anyone? Gaurav sir?
Sir, you're on mute, Gaurav sir.
1 second.
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Sorry, for a moment, I speak on mute. Can you just once again repeat the question for me?
So the question is, what plans are in place to reinforce skills of growth mindset in the present and future students? So we have already talked about how we are investing in meditation, having the Zumba dances, so that students actually start feeling much more confident. And I'll share with you one of the experience I've never seen is whenever we have these dance classes, we have 97% of the students dancing and just carefree. So somewhere or the other, the inhibition, and we have some of the students are like, I would say they are really blessed, but they are good dancers, but we also have students who are very shy, introverts. We are trying to encourage them to become much more I would say robust in terms of being there at the moment. So any thoughts as to how we are investing in growth mindset for our students?
Yeah. So I think it's, the growth comes from pure motivation. I would like to circle back to what Ritesh sir said. There are different levels which we have been divided into finishing school. And each time when you move from one level to another, you will feel as if you have experienced a small component of growth. And that growth you will continue to experience. So you need not wait for all 4 levels to cross. It's like each time you cross a bridge, you will feel you have walked a mile. So in this particular case, there are a lot of assignments which are being given to students. They have been asked to record the videos. They have been asked to try out activities. Like dance is one. There are several other communication and impromptu activities. So they are being given these experiences related to the assignments, which they have to submit, and they will be given feedback, which will be very tangible and measurable. And each time you progress, you will be given the feedback to go to the next level. So it's a very iterative, engaging, and intense process where growth is observed at each level. And to propel this growth mindset, we will certainly acknowledge and reward the students also who are passing through each levels. So it's not there is a far-fetched goal which you look, and finally at end of the year you realize that maybe it was not working for you. So we have a very dynamic course correction pedagogy in finishing school, which core team is working on. Based on your own journey, we will customize it for you. Maybe some student needs a bit of less handholding, some needs more of handholding. So your growth journey will differ from someone else's growth journey. Yeah, these are my thoughts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. So typically, just to reiterate, what we do at finishing school is each student will, on a weekly basis, come up with their goal for that particular week. And we definitely try to record it, give them an action plan, let it be a SWOT analysis, let it be a SMART goal. We have pre-assessments that we already know where exactly the student is in terms of communication, in terms of dress etiquette, all those things. So what we are trying to do is customize our approach, goal setting approach, so that we are able to handhold the student every step of the way, course correct based on where they are hoping to go. It's literally understand where their North Star is and then figure things out. So that's the reason, the entire development plan is what we are focusing on. We are hoping to have customized development plan, goal setting, and feedback sessions. Like Mr. Goyal had already mentioned, these are video recorded. Everything is documented so that we are able to show them the journey line. It's something that it is tangible for them to see when they join GFS, GIBS finishing school, and when they graduated or ready for placement. What is the transition or the journey that they have metamorphosed through? What is the growth they have gone through? So it'll be a great motivation. And obviously, growth mindset is something that we are always focusing on. We are teaching our students to be more mindful about their thoughts, moving away from negativity, looking at even the most negative situation, how they can get the best out of it. So thank you so much, Gaurav sir and Ritesh sir. We do have a lot of other questions. Okay, there's one question. I think Ritesh sir again, either Ritesh sir or Shweta ma'am can take this. One of the participants has asked, I want to ask that, does the work experience matter a lot to pursue PGDM, as it is a more market-driven situation?
Can I?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So if we talk about Indian education system, madam, specifically for the management programs, about 85% of the students are freshers. So, the work experience is not at all mandatory to pursue your PGDM. And since the PGDM is an autonomous program, The autonomous institutions will have all the privileges or the powers to design their own curriculum. So we design the curriculum along with the curriculum committee by keeping, the industry in the mind. So according to me, it is, the work experience is not required if you really want to pursue your PGDM program. But if you have work experience, definitely it is an added advantage for you because you can relate all the concepts, whatever you have worked in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it's definitely an advantage. Again, it's not mandatory to have experience, but not having experience also comes handy. So it's always, again, yin and yang, both works. Absolutely.
Can I
so we
add
are
on to
unfortunate.
it a bit?
Yes, Gaurav.
Yeah. From my personal experience, and I think what Ritesh sir also said, classroom studies become much more engaging if you have work experience. However, it's not a limiting factor. But at the same time, if you do not have a work experience, we strongly encourage that you take up multiple internships and live projects so that you can fast pace yourself to the industry needs. Otherwise, as Tripti ma'am also pointed out, it will be like something unfinished you will experience when you join the corporate. So to beat the race and take a lead, it is advisable either you come with a work experience of minimum 2 years, or you try to take up work with your college and take up multiple internships. It always helps.
Absolutely. Well said, Gaurav sir. Thank you so much for that. Unfortunately, we are beyond the schedule. However, what I would definitely request is maybe share your last thoughts. This has been a very fruitful and really great interaction because having worked with GIBS Finishing School, we have a vision. We are implementing that vision every week. We are trying to see where exactly and how exactly we can be part of our students' success. So any last minute thoughts, Gaurav sir, before we hand it over to Ratna ma'am.
My last minute thoughts are, please, whatever decision you take, wherever you join, consider a college which provides you practical learning, because PGDM or MBA is a very job-oriented practical course. It is not supposed to be done the way you would have done your graduation. So please keep those particular choices in your mind while going for it. Check how much outbound learning, corporate exposure you get, how many things you get to try in an experiential manner. I think that should form your choices. And also keep in mind, if those curriculum or choice of subjects are very innovative in nature, they are cutting edge or in line with the trends in the industry. That will be helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gaurav. And I think for the professionals who are there, who are part of the audience, also see how can you bring a pedagogy or an experiential learning for your own students in your own management institute, so that the students can benefit. And like Ritesh sir said, it's always good to share. So we have started a specific initiative, hoping that students will be successful and the chances of being really empowered will be very high. So the academicians who are part of this discussion, if you could also take similar initiative, that will definitely help. Tripti ma'am, last thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, I want to definitely stress upon a point. Am I on mute? No, I'm audible. Okay. Not that because Ritesh sir is over here, but I want to say something over here is that, it's been an amazing journey in GIBS. And after working with so many colleges, one thing that I can say is GIBS is so different. It is, out of the rat race of all other MBA colleges that's present over there. That's because of the innovations that's happening at GIBS. You have an entrepreneurship, you have an innovation cell, you have now the finishing school, which is probably not present in lot of colleges in India at least. So this is something that I've seen completely, which is being so different compared to so many other management schools. So if students are at GIBS, they are really lucky because we give them a finishing platform. They can directly get into corporate where it's going to be easy for them to onboard. But if there are some outside students, I suggest you should take up at least the finishing school one, wherein you can actually have a holistic development of yourself. And on a last note, I would like to quote what Sheryl Sandberg had spoken about, because today's management students are going to be tomorrow's leaders. So she spoke about this at the Harvard Business School, one of the occasions there. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. Even if you're not there, a leader is always recognized. A leader's work is always, is always observed and taken to the next level. On that note, thank you so much, Nazia, for giving this platform. Thank you so much, Ritesh sir, for giving this platform, and all the best for the finishing school. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shruti.
Yeah.
Shweta, last thoughts?
The thoughts I was having, Nazia, is that we all are different experts over here, and I am sure there are many other experts who have joined us, but all of us are saying similar things, just in a different language. That for us to be successful is to have this holistic approach, to have this mindset of having a holistic approach. IQ, EQ, all these are very, very important, and not having this mindset that just concentrating on one aspect will take us any further. We need to, it's the need of the hour to think of all these aspects which we have been talking again and again, and that's what we all have been working for in this finishing school. And I worked in so many projects, but this is something I am most excited right now, because here we are really making a difference with so much. Each one of us is dedicated to making that real difference, and that's, I think, Mr. Ritesh, in our first meeting when we met, and why I took up this project was on this, because coming from a management itself, that I want to make that difference. I don't want my students to face what I have faced when I was coming out. That was a line which made me decide that whatever come, whatever may, but I will be part of this. Because if it coming from there, then that how strong and how much deeper he will get into getting it done. So thank you so much for making me part of this, and I would be looking forward to how many of you would be joining us, and we will be able to make a positive difference in your life as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shweta. So, sir, last thoughts.
Madam, I personally want to take one question of Sudipta Adhikari.
Yes,
I mean, the people are always asking that where they will get good institution and certificates having some value. Could you please share an exact and proper reply on this topic? So Sudipta, I just want to say that there are no good institution or bad institution. I personally believe that all the institutions are good. So if you remove O of good, that becomes GOD. So G for generator, O for operator, D for destroyer. So, our students makes an institution and they breaks an institution. So that is the reason we call them as a god of the institution. So they operate the institution, they generate the institution, and they destroy the institution. So it's not about the good or bad institution. It's always about the students. How do they take it up and how do they make that institution proud? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, thank you, panelists, for an awesome discussion. Like I said, it has been a great journey, and we have a journey ahead as we continue with our students right now. So, thank you so much for being part of GFS and GIBS to handhold and nurture our students so that they are successful, and in their success lies our own happiness. So, thank you so much. With this, I'll hand over the call to Ratna ma'am. Ratna ma'am, over to you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to propose the vote of thanks. But before that, let me tell you that was really, an eye-opener for many of them. And it was really brainstorming. That discussion was really helpful, and so many new things, we have learned. Hope our participants, will mail us, through their comments, and they will get the e-certificate as well, so they can always, have a mail ID. They have our mail ID, and they will revert back, with those comments. So without further ado, I deem it my pleasure to propose vote of thanks today. We all learned that GIBS Finishing School is a genuine game changer, filling the gap between aspiration and preparation. GIBS Finishing School is one of its kind in India, which grooms students every Saturday to kickstart their new phase of life and bridging the skills gap between the campus and the corporate. Thank you, panelists, for enlightening us about all these things. We are very proud, we are very glad, and deem it a privilege to be the part of GIBS family. Dear panelists, on behalf of the team of GIBS Business School, Bengaluru, our sincere thanks and best wishes to all the panelists. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you, Professor Nazia Sultana, Head Finishing School at GIBS Business School, Bengaluru, for moderating this panel discussion. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
On behalf
Thank
of
you so
all,
much.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
panelists.
Sincere
Thank you
thanks
very
to
much.
Mr. Ritesh Goel, Managing Director, GIBS Business School, Bangalore, for making a difference to our lives. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
I extend our thanks to Mr. Gaurav Nigam, Global Marketing, Infosys, and GIBS Finishing School faculty for his sharing of knowledge and everything. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Shweta Rajput. Yes, sir. Thank you, Ms. Shweta Rajput, Image Consultant at GIBS Finishing School faculty for your support. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
Ms. Tripti Arvind, Corporate Trainer and GIBS Finishing School faculty. Please accept our thanks, ma'am. It was lovely.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
And thank you, Team GIBS, for the relentless, unique spirit. A big thank you to all the participants. We are really obliged from your overwhelming responses. Keep connected, visitors. GIBS is known for knowledge sharing and its hospitality. Experience it by visiting our campus, as we all believe in seeing is believing. I bet that you will love the state-of-the-art corporate infrastructure, and you also love meeting the team of innovative minds at GIBS who believes in spreading the power of positivity. Look forward for your visit. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms. We are there on LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook. Appreciate your participation. The e-certificate of this panel discussion will be sent to you, your register mail ID by 16th September, that is day after tomorrow. And not to miss our upcoming webinars on 21st September 2021 at 5 p.m. We have a webinar on the topic mindfulness. Yes, mindfulness. And the resource person is Mr. Ajit Kaikini, Director, Buoyancy, Growth and Corporate Trainer. And on 28th of September 2021 at 5 p.m. webinar on the topic Essentials of Transition from Academic to Corporate Career. And the guest speaker is Ms. Prija Sridhar, Leadership Coach at MU Sigma Inc. And follow us and register as early as possible because it's limited registration. Thank you once again for your continuous support and engagement. I take your leave. Have a great evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, spread happiness. Good luck with your career pursuits. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.